us a little bit about your history here with House Culligan?
Yeah, it's a long history. It's actually going to be 35 years coming here in May, and it started out when I got out of college. I took a part-time job over the summer with a Culligan. I knew somebody who worked at Culligan. He said, "Hey, we're looking for a plant guy." So I went in and worked part-time in the plant, and then within like 2 weeks, he said, "Hey, we had a full-time route position open up." And then I ended up doing routes for 3 or 4 years.
And started turning in leads, right, to the salespeople. And the whole time I'm thinking, man, I should be out selling these and not turning them over to salespeople. It just felt right, And so I begged and begged and begged to go into sales. And finally, after about a year, they agreed to let me go in sales. And so from that point on, I went into sales and sold in household sales for almost 10, 11 years. And did really, really well at it. And then they started asking me to teach and train other salespeople to be able to sell Culligan. And so it grew from there, right? And so now I've been a sales manager for Culligan, full-time sales manager for about 12, 13 years. And I love what I do. I love teaching. I love taking somebody that's never even heard of Culligan and teaching them how to test water, go out, fix people's water, and create great customers for us. So it's actually fun.
That's awesome. Can you tell me a little bit about Kennedy Catholic?
Yeah, Kennedy Catholic is a small private school that both my wife and I graduated from back in 1984. I don't like to say that too much, but and then our daughter ended up graduating from there. And so we've been involved with Kennedy Catholic for a lot of years, a long time. So, but it's a great school.
Awesome. What made you want to rebuild the athletic department?
The short of the whole program was, about 15 years ago, they dropped the football program at Kennedy Catholic. It was probably because of finances and enrollment kept dropping and all those types of things at the time. So they dropped the football program. And so about 4 or 5 years ago, the school came to me because I've been so involved with it, and put me on a committee and said, "Hey, what can we do to increase our enrollment? Start sending it back to where they, the good old days." And so they put me on a committee, and one of the things that they were really pushing me to do was bring football back, and that felt kind of right into my wheelhouse because I played football there, and I felt football taught me a lot of life lessons and got me scholarships to play football and go on to college and do all those things. So it kind of fit right into what I really like to do. And so I agreed to do that.
What have you learned about rebuilding the athletic department?
I learned that, it was a very nervous thing for me because you got to remember there wasn't a football in the building, there wasn't a helmet, there wasn't a shoulder pad, there wasn't anything. The stadium was all run down to where it wasn't even safe to be walking in the stadium. And so it was very, very nervous time for me to agree to do this, and kind of didn't even know where I was going to start. But I knew I had to start raising money to fix the stadium. I was going to have to raise money to buy equipment, helmets, all those things that go along with having a football team, hire coaching staffs, and all this stuff had to be done behind the scenes without even knowing if I had a football player, right? So that was a very, very nervous time going through this process.
What was most surprising to you about rebuilding the athletic department?
What surprised me the most was I knew I was going to need a lot of help, and I had to reach out to a lot of people, a lot of alumni, a lot of businesses. My wife had to be on board with this, right, because it was a huge, huge commitment, and she stood by my side every step of the way. I mean, she was down there scrubbing and painting and replacing boards. We spent an entire summer, every night, every Saturday and Sunday, for the whole summer, just cleaning up the place and getting it usable, and raising money and doing GoFundMe things, and going out to businesses and selling banners and all this stuff, not knowing you were going to ultimately get to have a full football team. So that was very nervous, raking in a lot of money without even know we were going to be able to pull this off. We raised in excess of $150,000 just to get this up and running.
Is there a particular moment or memory that stands out for you?
Probably the biggest thing, we started out with a JV program with like 4 or 5 games the first year. And then the way the state works, you have to be in 2-year cycles. So the second year the football was there, we had to make a decision. Are we going to go to varsity, or are we going to stay JVs for the next 2 years? And, you know, we had, I think, 14 or 15 players, coaching staff. The school was on board, so we decided to go varsity. And so we went in full head first, you know, the first year. And it was a COVID year, and we only got to play 5 games, I believe it was. And we didn't win a game, but we played hard and kept building and building. And then finally, the second year, still had COVID, but we had 7 games, I believe, for the year, and we got our first victory. And so when you know, at the end of the game, we're up by 2 points, and I'm nervous, right? I'm like, man, we got to win here. And the clock finally buzzed off. We got our first win. That's kind of when it hit me that you pulled something off here.
That's awesome. Is there an achievement or contribution that you're the most proud of, and why?
Yeah, the achievement was getting this program back up and running, but the contribution, remember, the overall goal was to help increase the school enrollment. And so the first year we brought football back, I think we had a net gain of 15 students, and then the next year was a net gain of 55 students, and then this past third year there was a net gain of 115 students. Right? Because we knew the ultimate picture was, yeah, football's coming back, but what all comes along with that? Band, right? Cheerleaders, dance lines, all those types of things that bring that, you know, family community back together to the school, and it's actually taken off like the goal was.
What inspires you to do this?
Basically because it was the school that I went to, and my wife and my daughter, and I really love the school. I believe in the school, and I feel that the school, the administration, the coaches, all those people that I had back in the day when I was there helped me become who I am, you know, and got me a college education and got me, you know, all those types of things. And I firmly believe that that's the best contribution we can give to kids and students and everybody involved, those opportunities. And that was my ultimate goal, was to provide those same types of opportunities that were provided to me.
What made you believe this was going to be successful?
Probably I had a lot of confidence in myself, you know, from a lot of things that I learned at Culligan, right? I learned different business strategies and different growth plans and different business growth plans. From CR, you know, how he does business. I learned from Andy Cowan how to do some things, from Buzz Cooksey, another dealer, of how to, you know, grow businesses and help grow employees. And I felt, you know, this was starting a business from scratch, and I had to raise dollars to start this business and keep money coming in to keep growing the business and keep employee or students and football players coming in. So I took a business approach on it. Got the school to look at it as a business opportunity, and we kind of all pulled it together. And you know, this year the schedule's beautiful. It's lined up for us perfectly. The team's growing. The coaching staff's doing great. So it's all falling in line, you know, like the goal was.
What would you say to someone considering rebuilding the athletic department?
I would say, if you have the drive to do it and you have the reasons to do it, you know. My goal was to help other kids have the same opportunities I did. If you can do that, and that's, I highly recommend that. If you want to give back to your community, I highly recommend you do that. Working with Culligan provided that opportunity for me. I mean, everybody there knows I work for Culligan. Everybody, we get tons of leads just because people know who I am. Yeah. And it was a nice mesh. It was a nice mesh. And my job provided the opportunity for me to be able to do that and give back. And I highly suggest you do that if you can.
How has this changed you?
It pretty much proved to me that, you know, anything that you want to do, if you put your mind to it, you probably can do it if that's your focus, right? To commit a whole summer, my wife and I, to do all that and till dark, you know, working down there, but we were committed to it, and I wasn't going to fail. So I had to do a lot of things to make it succeed, and I would suggest it worked out. It worked out.
Is there anything else you would like to add that I didn't ask you?
No, I mean, a couple pretty cool things that's happened since, even you and I talked a couple weeks ago. I got to go to our first signing. One and only senior that we had got a scholarship, so I got to go to his actual signing. He was insistent that I was there. So that was very good. And then I also heard from the school that they've started a band program up and a dance line program up, for the football program. Now, I have a couple new goals or a couple things that I'm trying to focus on now. They need a new concession stand with public bathrooms. They need some new weight machines, all the stuff that we need to do to upgrade and keep growing the program. To give you an idea, we're going to have to raise somewhere around $100,000 just to get a new concession stand. Another $50,000 for a weight room, up to state-of-the-art weights and stuff like that. So it's ongoing, trying to figure out ways to raise money and pull all this off and reach out to businesses to keep growing it and get it to the level that it used to be. The program used to have 45, 50 kids on the football team. Right now, this year, we're probably going to be somewhere around 25 to 27, which is a huge growth, over a 2-year period. So we're going in the right direction, but it still takes a lot of money to keep digging at this. It just doesn't end.
Well, hopefully the community gets behind you with this whole thing and they're able to.
They do. It's pretty cool. I started a banner program just to raise money, and our whole stadium was lined with these banners from businesses and stuff like that wanting to contribute. And then I started a program with each class that graduated from the high school to make a banner for their graduating class, the year of 1984, the year of 1979. And I think we're up to 10 or 15 of those now that hang up around the stadium and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. You can see the community backing it and the school backing it and the families, and it's pretty gratifying to watch it. So nice things keep coming into play, as far as what we originally started with and where we're growing to right now.